Welcome to the Travel Genie Show. My name is Brandy, and together with Corey and Joel, we are former cast members. Allie is our resident DVC member, and Sherida is our annual pass holder. Together, we are the Travel Genies. Our hope and desire is that we can take the stress out of your next Disney vacation and inject some additional magic to it as well. So sit back for some tips, tricks, and pineapple whips. So today it is Corey, Sherida, and myself. Joel and Allie are on their vacations and extra activities for the day. So it's just the three of us. And we are going to be talking about how to have a truly terrible day at Disney. So I'm really excited actually to see kind of what comes out of this, because I feel like this could go in a bunch of different directions. So what do y'all think? What is the first thing that comes to mind whenever we say, let's have a terrible day at Disney? What are you going to do?
Anytime there's just like a lot of people there. So you go during the summertime and not expect the crowds to be there and it not to be hot. It's Florida and it's everybody else's summer too.
I don't know how accurate those crowd calendars are anymore. Just assume there's going to be people and it's going to be busy and you just have to work around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm like, it's not, it's that everybody kind of like caught on to the like low times and the less crowded times, and it's kind of spread throughout. I will say that like they still hold up to an extent, but because you still like, you think of like school schedules and things like that. That's why our spring break, so March into April-ish, are busy. That's why our summer, June, July, August, is busy. That's why Christmas break, December, into December is busy. So like those still hold true as like the busier times. There's a few weeks out of the year that I prefer to go because of those types of things, because like I don't have kids yet, so like we like to go when the kids are like just in school. But yeah, I it's it always kind of baffles me when people go and they're like, oh, it's my vacation, it's my summer, my Christmas, or my birthday, and I'm so happy for you. I really am. There's a lot of other people who are here for the same reason, so expect the crowds for the probably the same reason you're there too.
Yeah, that is so true. I've actually talked with a few people now. There's this misnomer, especially around Thanksgiving. Like everyone seems to think like no one is going to go to Disney at Thanksgiving, and like no, everyone goes to Disney at Thanksgiving. Everyone else is
Yeah.
off that week too. So no, I think that's a great one. Is like just expectations around crowd management. Disney has worked really hard to get those slow times to not be slow times. That's why you see all of the cool festivals and parties and things that are there, is around that. It behooves them to have more people in the park. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And you're right. I think that low is not low anymore. It's just less. So expect less crowds on certain dates, sure, but you're not gonna, walk up to the castle with no one in front of you ever.
Those
That's
days are
Yeah.
gone. Those days are gone.
I was like, I
not
remember, I think it
even
was like,
a thing.
yeah,
Like,
my first college program, I think we had oh gosh, I walked into the park and it was like, they're like, hey, we don't actually need you to work today. There's only 19,000, which for anybody who thinks it's a lot, Magic Kingdom holds 100,000. So me walking in, they say it's 19,000. I'm like, oh, it's a slow day. Yeah, those don't exist anymore.
yeah.
I think especially because the pandemic, people are definitely going on vacations a lot more. And it's not, like I said, we don't have those slow times, and there's the less but not the slow. And but as long as you're planning everything out, you'll still have a great time. That's what we're here for as travel agents. I've had experience with even kind of similar. I had a guest that for dining reservations, we can even kind of talk about this too. Dining reservations are required to an extent. I think if there is somewhere you really want to go, do not sleep on that reservation. If you are diehard, I really want to go to this restaurant, or we're gonna do this day. We definitely want to have a sit down meal. Please, please, please make a reservation. If you need help, we are here to help you. We are here for recommendations for you. I can give you a recommendation for every park, every resort, all of them. That's what we're here for. That's what your travel agents are there for. That's what you hired us for. And I think it was like the week of Thanksgiving, and he wanted a reservation on Thanksgiving for 6 people, which is that's a decent table. And I was like, okay, no problem. We actually had an opening. I was like, I just need to do your credit card, your credit card information for a credit card guarantee. And he was like, for what? And I was like, well, unfortunately, I was like, we do have this credit card guarantee. There's some guests that kind of took advantage of reservations back in the day. So we have this. And he was like, I'm good. I'm going to wing it. And I said, okay, you have a great day. No problem. I'm sure he did not have the best time on Thanksgiving for his family as he thought he was going to, because when it's crowded, you need to have those reservations.
Turkey legs for everyone on Thanksgiving.
I mean, not a bad meal if that's what you're into.
No, I think that's a really, really good one, is just keeping in mind those dining reservations, are booked 60 days out. And it's just, you don't want to forget those if it's important to you. And granted, like if your expectation and your joy in life is to wing it, but you can be okay with, hey, everything was booked, like then go for it. Like you do you, live your best life. But if you're going to if you're going to be really disappointed that you didn't get to eat somewhere, that's when it's really, really important to think about it ahead of time.
Along with the planning line, I guess, not understanding how big Disney World truly is.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes.
Not just property wise. I mean, the size of the property affects everything. Where you stay, how you're going to get there, travel times, all those kinds of things. It's people have a really hard time comprehending, I think, Disney World is not just one park. It is its own little utopia. And yeah, to understand that, like I said, it affects kind of, have in mind where you want to be playing at, where you want to stay, travel time, if you want to be eating at one place but you're coming from a park, that's going to take time getting there. How are you going to get there? Yeah, the planning goes a long way with understanding the size.
Yeah. And like the nice part about staying on property, even some of the Good Neighbor hotels, and some of the surrounding hotels, for some of them have transportation options, but even staying on property, realizing how much time that encompasses, kind of tying in the last two things we just talked about. When you think about dining reservations, I always tell people, you need to plan an hour and a half to 2 hours before your reservation to start heading that direction. So if you need to take a bus from your resort to a park, from your resort to another resort, you need to plan up to 2 hours in advance to start that transfer if you plan on taking the bus system. There is a lot of buses, they are moving. There's a lot of people that are also there, also using the buses. So you might not be walking right up to a bus and getting on. Definitely prepare for those bus times. And like I said, it's definitely a convenience that Disney has for us. If you don't have the luxury, or maybe say the budget to get a car for yourself, or you didn't drive your car down, it's an awesome thing they have for you to use. But it's going to eat some of your time, and just kind of take that into consideration, because if you're at Disney Springs and you have a reservation at Animal Kingdom Lodge, those are literally opposite sides of all of Disney property. It's gonna take you a few minutes to get over there, to make those reservations. So just kind of keep that in mind. Similar side story, I had a guest when I was working at Animal Kingdom, the park, at one of the restaurants, and he's like, oh, my family's coming right now. I said, okay. I was like, well, are they walking? Like, where are they coming from? And he's like, oh, they're on the bus. And I was like, on the bus? And he was like, yeah, they're on the bus coming here right now. I was like, okay. I said, I will put your name down. It's going to be a while. So it might be better if you tell me when your family gets here, and then we can get you guys seated shortly. It was about an hour and a half before he came and got himself a table. So
Wow.
I definitely plan on, make sure you're being realistic about your times when it comes to transportation, kind of getting around property. Like I said, this isn't too discouraged for the buses. I think it's a great system. If you want to use it, if you have to use it, if you need to use it, if you like to drink around the world and you shouldn't be driving, the buses are great. They're there to take you back to your hotel, and kind of, roll you out to get back to your room. But make sure you're planning properly for your time around property.
For sure. And that's something that, like, I don't know about you guys with your clients, but I definitely help my clients with on their itineraries. Like, I'm laying out, like, okay, so, this far ahead of this reservation, you want to start walking that way, and, those kinds of things. And I'll add on to that, because you're talking about, distances between things, also knowing like what could pop up between things. So, for example, parades tend to get in the way of certain things. And so, for example, you had a dining reservation at Skipper Canteen and you were caught on the Space Mountain side of life. That's going to cause a problem if you're right at parade time. So seeing ahead some of those things, that is a lot for the average guest to just have floating around in their head. Like, I completely acknowledge that. And that's why what we do is so important, is because we have all of that floating around in our head. See, you guys don't have to. But another one that I was thinking about here was going on someone else's perfect trip. Because so many times someone comes to me or I, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna book our lightning lanes. What should be our top 3? And of course, I always respond back with, well, what do you want to go on? Like, what is like the things that is important to your family? What ages are your kids? All of these things. And the answer is going to vary. And a lot of people just kind of go based on, whatever is said in a Facebook group, like, oh, you have to book this first, or you have to go stay at this resort, you have to go over here. And the priorities for each individual family are so different that, like, someone else could have a fabulous time at the, oh, what is it called? Grand Californian. But like, Allie went there and she was like, this is not for me. It's not my vibe. And so it's just things like that can just totally not ruin, but really impact your vacation if you're trying to go on someone else's perfect vacation.
Good point. Good point. Another one I had thought of, you're going to be walking a lot of steps. You're going to get a lot of steps. Do not take a brand new pair of shoes to Disney without breaking them in beforehand. It's not going to work. You'll be visiting the first aid centers a lot, getting ointment and band-aids, and just please don't. Please break in your shoes before you go to Disney.
That's what, like, I'm not a Crocs person, but I see a lot of Crocs at Disney. And like, my favorite thing about Crocs is they are comfortable. They're unusually comfortable for as ugly as they are. But I see Crocs all over Disney, and it's the comfort, it's the cushion. Yeah, make sure you're wearing something very comfortable. If you're cool in your flats or your tennis shoes all day long, then go for it. If you're cool in your heels all day long, then I mean, you do you. But yeah, I would not recommend the ball gown and the high heels to go around Magic Kingdom in the middle of July.
Right. And I think that that's the important thing to remember is, like, are we talking about walking into Magic Kingdom for a quick dinner and then back out? Or are we doing all day at Magic Kingdom, which is at minimum going to be like 7 miles of walking? Like, so be keeping that in mind with regards to your goals and the different types of shoes that you bring and things, for sure. And I will add in there from personal experience, don't think you're going to buy a different color of the shoes that you normally like and are comfortable and then not break them in. You still have to break them in. Just FYI.
Have you done that before by chance?
It's very vaguely possible, yeah.
Speaking from experience, one of those again?
May or may not have happened. But here's another one for you. Thinking that your family is suddenly going to stop acting like your family while you were on vacation.
Literally was my next thought. I was like, I distinctly remember a trip that was, I think, 10 or 11 people, and I was in charge because I'm the Disney person and I worked there. And it was, that much of the family has not vacationed since I was very young. And it could have been better, but I wasn't surprised by some people. And it kind of is what it is, but it's not this isn't the time that people magically are the most cheerful people that you've ever seen before. They're still the same people at home, and always think about who you're on vacation with, and what their needs are and what your needs are when you're on vacation.
Yes, so true. And I think that goes for the adults that you're traveling with. That goes for the children that you're traveling with. If your kids need naps in the middle of the day, they are not going to suddenly not need a nap in the middle of the day. If your kids are at the age where they are throwing tantrums, guess what? You're probably going to deal with one at Walt Disney World, just like every other parent of kids that age. Like, please do not feel bad if that happens. Just be aware that your kids are your kids. And some of that can even be heightened because you're at Disney World. It's a new environment, you're overstimulated, there's a lot of noise, sound, smells, etc. So just expect that you may have to deal with some of those things as well.
Good idea to work in breaks during the day. Go back to the resort, hang out for a while, decompress, get ready to go do it all over again.
even breaks around the park. I usually I have like my list of stuff that I give to clients, or I don't remember if we talked about it here. We're going to talk about it here eventually. I'll bring it up, but there's definitely break areas, and if you need an hour, then sit for an hour. Like, just sit and relax, sit in the shade, sit in the air conditioning. There's so many places to do it. Make sure you're taking those breaks that are needed, and you should be doing it anyway. And make sure. I was referring to the adults because especially at that time, there were no small children. It was all adults, and it was a lot of overstimulation of one adult, and then other adults are not happy about it. And then, I've done multi-generational trips, and the grandparents they're not built for Florida summers. So the wheelchair it was, and they were just fine.
Yep.
A lot of like, I'm not sitting in that wheelchair all day. And then she did. She stayed there. But yeah, definitely take the breaks when you need it. If you can go to the resort, have at it. If it's multi-generational and some people want to stay, or multifamily and some people want to stay at the resort, let them stay. Don't let the family kind of take down your vacation. Everybody's there for different reasons. Everybody's there to have a different vacation. Even if you think you're all there for the same stuff, everybody's going to have a different vacation. So do your vacation how it needs to be done for you.
For sure. And with that, I think that could be a consideration when it comes to deciding your rooming arrangements. So I'm generally personally a pretty big fan of like, let's do separate rooms, either with connecting doors if we need to be like that close, or if we need to like spread out a little bit more. Doing a multifamily suite situation can be good if you really, 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 really get along well with your family. But if you think that you might need a break from each other, having those separate rooms can be really, really helpful. Anything else?
Another one I had thought of was thinking you can do and see it all in one trip. Again, it kind of ties back into the size of Disney World. There's a lot to see and do in each park. It does take some planning. You're not going to be able to do and see it all. You will kill yourself trying to. It's best to kind of ahead of time, make a game plan, a little bit of a plan. What's important to see? Is it the shows you want to see? Is it the characters you want to see? What rides you want to see? And, make your priority list and, kind of work from that. But you're not going to be able to see and do it all as much as you try. It's just not going to work.
That's also why, like, I always recommend, it's kind of that taking it at the pace that you need it to take it at. And I tell people, I'm like, it's okay if you don't see everything. Don't push yourself. Yeah, don't push yourself to see the whole thing. And I was like, and then you just come back later, and now you get to enjoy maybe and be a little more relaxed, because if this was your first time, next time it's so much more relaxing. Next time you can see different things and look at different things, go at a different time, and maybe you're gonna go during the holidays and there's decorations, and there's so much to see and do. You literally can't do it all because of all the things they do throughout the year, all the festivals at Epcot, and there's always something going on different all the time. So it's definitely worth, you know do what you can. It's not going anywhere as far as I know, unless the hurricane comes and picks it up. It's not going anywhere. So do what you can and come back another time. It's it's not a big deal. I was like, we still go, and you get to a point where there's always the stuff you want to do, and you do it. You don't do it, it's okay. And it's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's not going to go anywhere. And if this isn't a trip that you can do often, it's fine. It'll be there still. I was like, it's all good. um
Yeah,
oh
no,
my god, I lost my train of thought.
that's a really good point, is that there may be other opportunities. The number of people that I'm sure we have all heard in our immediate circles who said, "Oh, like it's going to be one and done. We're going to go one time. We're never going to go back again." And the number of them who turn around and go back within the next 3 years is pretty high. But even if it was your one and done, and you like truly you were never ever going to go back, do you want your experience to feel rushed and have everybody be in a bad mood because you're trying to get, fit in all these different things and you're trying to run around here and there and yonder, or would you prefer to maybe do less, but have everyone be in a good mood and you got to do the important things and you got to really experience the magic that is Disney? Because I've got news for you. When you overpack your day, those little magical moments go unnoticed
Oh
because
yeah.
there's no space for it. So that's definitely something to consider, is like, even if you think this is your one trip, like consider trying to slow yourself down just a little bit, because it's going to make your whole trip better.
You will miss
If
you
you
will miss a lot of the moments. Yeah, it's so cliche, but it's like one of those like stop and smell the roses kind of
Mhm.
thing. Like just, go with a plan, but be flexible too, and just relax and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
It is. No, and I'll throw in there too, because I had the thought, Corey, when you were saying like, you can't do it all. Like realistically speaking, like I haven't done it all. Like there's definitely characters that I haven't met, things attractions that I haven't ridden in 10 years. Like there's things that I haven't experienced, and like I haven't gotten to do Jollywood Nights yet. Can't wait to do it at some point. There's all these different things that I haven't gotten to see. And I'm sure y'all would say the same thing. And Sherida, you're our annual pass holder. And I'm sure there's still stuff you haven't gotten to do.
That's what that when the kids and I go, that's one thing when we're there for a weekend to enjoy. We all, whether it's trying a new restaurant, yes, revisiting old attractions, or if new attractions like Tiana's, we're hoping to hit Tiana's this weekend actually. There's still a couple resorts we haven't stayed in. Like there's always something, and because Disney's always changing, it's always trying to improve, or add on or whatever. There's always something. There's always something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have
Um,
anything else?
what just a little one, and this is like more in the details, but going back into the planning part, but if you've got favorite characters or shows, or anything like that you want to see, pay attention to the times, because they're not out all day every day. They're only out sometimes during certain times of the day or whatever. So if it's really important that your kid meets Rapunzel, or whatever, make sure you're at the right park. Because all the characters are not at all the parks either. Some are at Epcot, some are at Magic, some are at Studios. So yeah, make sure you have all those little details, which again, we can help you with all that stuff. We can tell you where to find your characters, we can tell you where to find the shows, but also just be mindful of the times and what you want to see and where you're going, and so you don't miss out, don't disappoint, no disappointment there.
Yes, yes. I know for me, when I was working in Fantasyland, that happened a lot. There were many times when a guest would come up and ask, when and where can we meet Donald Duck? And you'd think that that was a pretty straightforward ask, but come to find out, he had already done his last meet for the day, and he had gone over to Epcot already. there's only so many things. And then, I had a guest who asked about a specific character and they were only at Animal Kingdom and they weren't going to Animal Kingdom that trip. And so that was a big disappointment. So definitely planning ahead and knowing those things is huge. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just at least so that the expectations can be there, And so when you are ready to start planning your next Disney vacation, and if you want a unique concierge experience, we are here for you. Just visit thetravelgenieshow.com. And Sherida, I think you've got some news for us.
I do have a few little tidbits I will share with you all today. First of all, happy 69th birthday to Disneyland. This week, the happiest place on earth, opened its doors officially for the first time to guests on July 17th in 1955. So Disneyland is headed into its 69th year already, or 70, I guess 70th now, but yay. Disney Cruise Line has revealed that 1,246 staterooms are now in place on the Disney Treasure. The Treasure is joining her sister ship, the Wish, as the 6th Disney Cruise Line ship and is scheduled to enter service later in December. So that's exciting, getting a little closer there. Extended evening hours are returning to Disney's Hollywood studios in early fall. Extended evening hours are for guests who are staying at a Disney Deluxe Resort or Deluxe Villa Resort. And this is an opportunity for guests to take advantage of being able to enjoy 2 additional hours of park time after scheduled closing. Extended evening hours also take place at Epcot and Magic Kingdom on select nights. And speaking of extended evening hours, now that Country Bears are back in action, the Country Bear Musical Jamboree has been added to the list of attractions that are open during Magic Kingdom extended evening hours. And with Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival getting closer, 2 new Food and Wine Festival booths were announced. This year, the new global marketplaces are going to be Autumn Blaze and Harvest Table. And these booths will focus on fall foods and flavors, but not just your typical apples and pumpkins. Dishes like brined pork tenderloin with fennel slaw and wild game chili will be yummy new additions to this year's festival. So I am looking forward to trying out some of that new stuff this year.
That just is making my mouth water.
I know.
It's like, I haven't eaten yet either.
I'm like, when are we going again?
I mean, pumpkins and apples in fall, like all the yummy food. Bring all the yummy food on.
Yes.
So not much longer, not much longer.
Excellent, excellent. I cannot wait. All right, well then, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe or follow us so that you won't miss our next exciting episode. And remember to tune in next time for more tips, tricks, and pineapple whips.